Hi, this is Catherine Morgan from Point A to Point B Transitions and the editor-in-chief of Carol Roth's blog, Business Unplugged. Today, it is my distinct pleasure to interview one of my dearest friends and the most beloved person in cyberspace, Phil Gerbyshak. Yay!
Thank you, Catherine.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, what's up, Catherine? What's shaking?
Well, I have had questions from people about LinkedIn and selling on LinkedIn. And not surprisingly, your name jumped to the top of the queue as to people I should talk about it because you are a social selling expert. I know you've been diving deeply into LinkedIn and small business and actually making LinkedIn work for you and generate leads and generate connections and referrals and revenue, not just posting cat memes on Facebook, which by the way, I'm guilty of. I love doing that. But this is a business thing. So if you could introduce yourself a little bit and we'll dive into talking about LinkedIn.
Sure. So I'm Phil Gerbyshak, as you said, Catherine. I live in Tampa, Florida. I used to live in Milwaukee, used to get to hang out with you in person more. Now we get video, which is still wonderful. I'm thankful for it. And so what do I do? So I work with small business owners. I work with sales professionals, sales leaders to really use technology, to use marketing strategies to really take their business up a notch. I call that digital selling strategies, hence the name of my company, Digital Selling Strategies. So that's my whole goal. LinkedIn certainly is a big part of that because that's where the business social network takes place. And while LinkedIn is trying hard to drag us kicking and screaming into the Facebook era, meaning they've made a lot of changes that are more Facebook-like, which actually I think is good, they're still mostly business. So I teach all of those things. I teach a lot of people how to be more human as a seller because they forget that. They just share information like flopping a brochure down on somebody's desk. That doesn't work anymore. So what does work is being more of a human, paying attention, and being intentional about the conversations that you take part in.
Fantastic. I'll start with a question since you brought it up that people always ask me. They're like, oh, this social media stuff, LinkedIn, I feel kind of sticky with it. What is it? Is it just a resume database? Is it like Facebook? Oh my gosh, I get people who haven't been active on social and aren't active on another social media platform get really sticky about LinkedIn. Sell me on why it's important for professionals and small business owners.
Sure. Well, the first reason is if we rewind about 2 years, LinkedIn got bought by Microsoft for $26 billion. That's billion with a B. Microsoft doesn't just throw investment money in the garbage. This was a big purchase. Why is this a big deal? Well, this is basically networking as a service. Meaning you sign up for LinkedIn and now you have this service that you can use and you can connect with people. And because of that, and now Microsoft's thrust on the subscription model, which is the whole software as a service thing, meaning I used to buy floppy disks and load up Microsoft Office, and now I don't even think about it. I just have a subscription I pay every month. Now integrate those two. Recognize soon that everyone who has a Microsoft Office subscription will have a LinkedIn account. Okay, that's going to happen. Now that means the enterprise, if you're selling to the Fortune 5,000, they all have an enterprise license. So that now opens up likely every employee in the next couple years, I believe, will have an identity of which LinkedIn will be part of. That will be a characteristic of their identity so that if you and I are in the same organization, Catherine, I can now see more of your background. I can see what's important to you. And if we don't humanize and we just use it like a resume database, like you said, it's not going to work. I don't care about the person next to me because they know C++ or because the person next to me has 7 years of accounting experience. Mm-hmm. I care about their weird. What's their weird? What's interesting to them? You know, for a lot of people, my weird, right, is my glasses or the fact that I wear, you know, an orange watch or fun socks or Lego cufflinks. That's my weird. And weird just means different. Different than the person next to me, not necessarily different than the world. I'm not the only one who wears orange glasses. but I'm one of. So LinkedIn is the same way. We get to be ourselves. We get to bring, yes, our work selves, but we can also bring our whole selves. We can talk about whatever the heck we want on LinkedIn. Is it like Facebook in the fact that I can narrow my audience down and say, no, it's just this group of 7 friends that I went to high school with that I want to share this with? No. It's either public or private. It's either connections or not. But you can decide who you connect with. You can decide who your audience is. You can search in ways that as a business owner, we've never been able to search before. It is like having the yellow pages at our fingertips, plus the white pages, plus Facebook right at our fingertips, so that no, we're not going to close on LinkedIn. But yes, we are going to develop relationship. Yes, if people add value to our lives, yes, we can refer them business, even if we've never done business with them before, because we see how they behave on social media. Much like we can say, oh yeah, John down the hall, yeah, he's really good, even though I've only had coffee with him. Or Sally over here, yeah, she's really good at what she does because she's always nice to me, like I would at work. And we give them a chance, not to close, but to open.
Interesting. You know what? I'm actually going to make a case for the LinkedIn database. I had the wildest thing happen last week. I put up a new profile for a professional from my job search side of my business who had never been on LinkedIn before. And her husband's sort of dragging her kicking and screaming onto it. And I did, a professional profile. We redid her resume. We dropped everything in. We populated the appropriate things. And I swear this is true. Within 3 days, she got an inbound inquiry from a recruiter, from a company for the right title in the right industry at a headquarters located 6 miles from her house.
Wow. And truly unsurprising, because people are on it all the time. If you're a match, you're a match. Yes, job search, sure, great. But I want you to think about this as a service provider. If you provide a service and you have the right title and people are looking for that and your profile matches that and you've shared content about that and you actually look like the expert you are, and other people have given you social proof because they've given a little plus to the skills or they've taken the time to write up something, don't you look better than the person that just started yesterday? Duh. But flip that over. Here's what happens. The people that have the experience are like, I don't need LinkedIn. It doesn't matter to me. People are just going to know I'm smart. No, they're not. People don't have ESP. They don't. So come on. Show me you're smart, folks. Show me your social proof. I don't want to talk to you until I realize that you're qualified. I don't care. I've got way too many inquiries coming in. My gosh, I got them here, there, everywhere. Stop. And if you don't, you can generate them. That's the cool thing. Like, you can do this.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that you bring up. One of my clients calls it passing the sniff test. People sniff around to see if you're legit, because our BS meters are pretty finely tuned these days. And if you're going to invest some money, you want to invest with somebody who's got the stuff that you need, whatever that is. It's not a value judgment on what you provide, but you need to look real. I've said for years for solo professionals that LinkedIn is more important than your website these days, once they had that feature where you could embed media. So now when people go and sniff around about me, they will tell me that they've already watched some of my videos. They've flipped through some of my presentations. What people may not think about is 80% of customers have researched you before you even know about them, before they've even raised their hand for a conversation. They've gone and checked you out. Leave them stuff that's going to give them a good impression about what you do and who you work with, right? Yeah. Isn't that what you're saying?
Absolutely. So I'll use one phrase that will really help. Okay. Think of yourself as a resource and not as a resume.
Sweet.
If you're trying to help someone, right, think of yourself as a resource. How will this help someone make a decision, even if it's not you? Even if it's not you, right? So help them make a decision. With that, does a resume do that, or does a resume just list facts?
I want to know what your secret sauce is. I want to know within the first sentence or two what you really bring. And I actually think that polarizing is good. I think that generating a not you response is just as valuable as a you response. The worst thing you can be is boring these days, or dismissible or unnoticeable. In a very noisy marketplace, everybody's busy, everybody's distracted, everybody's, running around with their hair on fire, with fire hosed with information. How do you stand out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you really think about it, most of us are no longer at all unique. We have unique qualities. We have a few things here and there that are unique. So instead of focusing on just those things that make us the same, oh, I've got 10 plus years experience, check. I've got this certification, check. I've sold and made quota, check. Nobody cares. What's of interest? What's different? What's your weird?
Okay, I think they do care, but then they want to know what else. So they're like, okay, check, you've got that.
Well,
now what makes you interesting?
Right. Yeah. No. Right. And by that I mean you have those things, right? But if think of this as a series of lines, right? So here's 10 qualities. Well, you've got all 10. So does everybody else. So frickin' what?
Right.
Once those boxes are checked, now what else you got? What else is of interest? And I would say the thing about LinkedIn that makes it cool is who says you're any good?
Yes. And the fact that these aren't just random people on Yelp saying something. These are real people that you can click through to their profile and see, okay, I had a spooky thing happen to me one time. I worked with somebody who left me a gorgeous recommendation on LinkedIn, and somebody else who was considering working with me not only read that recommendation, but clicked through, reached out to him, messaged him, and had an hour conversation with him about me without me knowing.
References available upon request or references available on demand?
Yep, I linked to all of those on my website directly back, and go check it out on LinkedIn. I didn't make this stuff up. All right, let's move on. I mean, let me just give you one example to talk about, kind of like our friend Steve Woodruff with the clarity. You and I both work with small business owners. You and I both work with solo business owners. However, I work with solo consultants, so do you. But your secret sauce is helping, speakers, authors, social publicity, generating leads, getting speaking engagements. Like if I had somebody who was looking to do that, I'd refer them to you. If you were looking for somebody who wanted to be selling consulting into, Fortune 500, you might refer them to me. So everybody's got oh, we're both small business consultants. Oh, we're both kind of loud and in your face. Oh, we've both been around for, X number of years. There's a bunch of things that are the same, but we have some differences, and we know who our people are. I know you do too, 30 seconds, is this my person or not? I know.
Yeah, absolutely. And the hope is that the profile does too. The hope is that your profile lines up with that so that you can be clear, because the best way to generate leads is to be the perfect match. Because if people are looking for you, that is an inbound lead. Now, that being said, that doesn't happen as much as it could. So many times that profile becomes oh yes, they are who they say they are, which is really important. I was working with someone earlier this morning, Catherine, that really needs to realign her profile because she's been known as one thing, but she wants to be known as something else. So she has to realign it. She's still got that experience. It's about what you spotlight, what you don't say, as much as it is about what you write, what you put.
I call it framing.
Yes.
Your experience is your experience. We just frame it a little differently.
That's right. Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about what's new and exciting on LinkedIn. I know that you did a webinar recently, started kicking off your January, sharing your knowledge and goodness. Yeah. What's new and exciting on LinkedIn for small business owners?
Well, the first thing is really a continuation from last year, and that's LinkedIn video. LinkedIn video is super popular. If you haven't been using video, you're really missing out. You don't have to get all gussied up in order to do LinkedIn video. At the same time, right, you can't just roll out of bed. Somewhere in the middle. It's much more unpolished than any other video because there still aren't a ton of people that are doing it well. So get to practicing. Get to doing some video. That's a big thing. In fact, I see with my clients, some of them went from 4 views per post to 40 or 100 views per post. So 10 to 25% increase. Others have gone from 400 to 9 or 10,000, which is which is a 2,000% or 2,000% increase, which is just fascinating to me.
Okay, I will second that from my personal experience. You and some other friends encouraged me to start doing video, and I get maybe 40, 80 views of written posts, and I get, 400 views of video. It's just not even close.
Yeah, and it's not just views. So let me be clear. Some people are saying, okay, well, what's that mean? Views, so what? No, Artie, hold on. So more than 3 seconds is a view, but what's really valuable, people who click like and comment are the people now that are clearly interested in that post. So now you have an opportunity to engage them. This is your lead gen, folks. If you post a video about how to do XYZ and 46 people click, yes, they like that. Those are 46 people that you helped that now you've earned the right to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, Catherine, you just liked my video. What are you working on this year? How's things going? Not right from, hey, Catherine, you liked my video. Let's get married. No. Earn the right to a conversation, and likely they'll take your call because they're like, oh, yeah, that person, she posted a good video. That was helpful. I remember them. Even if they don't, I got my best business last year of someone who wasn't even connected to me on LinkedIn that saw one of my LinkedIn videos who brought me in for a 2-day training with his team. Sweet. Because of a 90-second video I did.
Yeah, I've gotten very, very positive feedback. I've gotten people telling me they're helpful, keep doing them. I have gotten some clients from my videos where they were considering me, and that was the tipping point that generated the conversation, that generated the client. So I can actually track that to revenue. And I'll also tell you, it's just not that bloody hard to do.
It's not, right? And let me give you a quick formula that'll help you for that. It's PSA, make your point, ask a question. What point are you going to make? Story, tell me a little story about it. Little bit of intrigue, a little bit of interest, right? Be a little bit entertaining, and then an action. What do you want people to do with what you just told them to do? If you use that PSA formula, you can film a video much faster. Now, just know the great news.
The S. What's the S?
Oh, so point story, right? Point story action.
Okay.
So the great news is you don't have to keep every video. You don't have to use every video. So you might film it 2 or 3 times until you get your juice going, until you get the fact that you can be really concise in that. Because, I got almost 10,000 views on a 42-second video with 90 likes and 40 comments.
Oh my God, what were you talking about?
I was talking all about the one thing that you need to do on your LinkedIn profile.
Nice.
And I've got, 6,000 views on one about computer backup because my computer died a couple weeks ago.
I saw that one. That broke my heart. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've sold us on video, hopefully. What else?
So again, status stuff, things you can share. It used to be in LinkedIn, you can only share links and text and pictures. And now you can actually share documents. Now, not everybody has this feature yet. To be clear, not everybody has it, but you can share documents. And by documents, I mean Word documents and PowerPoint slides and PDFs.
Now, why would you do that versus SlideShare?
So why would you do this versus SlideShare? Well, first of all, if you post a SlideShare, you're driving them off to another website, and LinkedIn is burying that.
LinkedIn owns SlideShare. That makes no sense.
LinkedIn publisher articles are getting buried too because they see them as off-platform. Trust me, I've watched the views. I'm telling you, I know. I think, I'll make a prediction that in the next 12 months, SlideShare is dead.
I'm sorry to hear that. I've gotten thousands of views of my SlideShare.
No,
that was a best practice for a long time.
It was, yep. But LinkedIn hasn't touched SlideShare since before LinkedIn owned SlideShare, since before Microsoft owned LinkedIn.
All right, never mind. Next.
6 years. No, hold on. But sharing. Okay, so why do we share? So this is ungated content. You don't get an opt-in with this, but it could be shared around. So the last page could be a sell sheet. The last page could be a, hey, you like this video? You want more information? You like this white paper? Let's go deeper. You could put a free chapter in your book, right?
Okay,
you
so remember to include a call to action. Okay.
Yep, if you upload documents.
Got it.
Okay, so documents is the second big change. Along with that is the whole algorithm change. Okay, the whole algorithm has changed on LinkedIn in that videos and documents are first. Links anywhere. I don't care if it's to another LinkedIn property or not. I don't even care if it's to somebody else's LinkedIn post. If you're sharing it and you put a link in there, LinkedIn is burying it. So for the algorithm, that means you need to tease them in, give them a tasty morsel in the text, and then put the link in the comments.
I hate that. By the way, I raise my hand and say that sucks.
Sucks for who? Sucks for the user, or it sucks for you as a creator?
I just don't like it. I think it just feels sleazy to me, but whatever.
Well, it's an algorithm change. And well, here's the thing though. If you have to click through to the comments, it shows that you have an intention to read more. Most of the time, Catherine, the text up there sucks, which is what makes it feel sleazy. It's like, why don't you just give me you didn't make any point in this, so you not sharing the link doesn't make me think any better of you. But if you do a good job of giving me a little morsel up here and then the whole thing down below, that can be super valuable. What sucks is there's no payoff. That's what sucks.
Okay. Well, that's a different conversation. We should, someday I want to do some content around how to write that, because it is sort of its own little type of writing.
Totally.
And our friend Marla Schulman from her writing promo and TV taught me how to do that, I think, pretty well.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Okay. What else? So we've got 3. We've got video. We've got sharing documents that could include PDF, PowerPoint, Word. And then we've got whatever.
The algorithm.
Algorithm. Anything else?
Well, the other thing that I'm going to share is that whole prediction that I made before about everybody eventually having to be on LinkedIn because they have Microsoft. Remember,
okay, let's frame that. Because if you're a white collar professional, you need to be on LinkedIn. If you're a remodeling contractor, I'm going to say no.
Well, and I'm going to respectfully disagree with you.
Oh, good. Okay.
I really see that more and more people are going to LinkedIn to research people. Maybe not to find your business, Catherine. I'm totally with you there. But LinkedIn does such a great job of ranking people and then showing that social proof and offering the ability to get some snackable content, especially around that. I mean, a lot of times, to your point, right, a remodeler, if they did a good job of putting their pictures on their profile of remodeling jobs that they did, and it shows up as one of the top 3 things in search for that remodeler in Chicago, Illinois, you tell me that's not valuable? It shows up in Google search. Okay. It means, people don't get that, right? So if you do anything where people need to see your work, like visually in order to get it, or if you're white collar, you absolutely should be on LinkedIn just because of how well Google ranks them. And just because, again, Microsoft owns them. If you own one Microsoft product, if you just buy PowerPoint and you have an Office 365 account, you will have to have a LinkedIn account, my prediction, in the next 18 to 24 months. Okay. Because it's identity. It is who you are, which is very different.
And I'm going to say that anybody who has a professional conversation with you at least looked you up on LinkedIn and probably did a search for you online as well.
Yep. Likely both.
Likely both.
Yep.
All right. So so that's what's new and fun in LinkedIn. I want to talk, I think it's as valuable to talk about what not to do versus what to do. So I'm going to give you an example of something that made my blood pressure spike yesterday. And it's actually a mutual friend of ours, so I'm not going to use names. Somebody posted, they were quoted on some, reputable source, and they were understandably excited about it. So they did the right thing. They posted a link to that article on LinkedIn. They did, a nice promo about why people would be interested in what they said. And then within that, they tagged the people they knew had the network that they would like to get this in front of. So I was one of them. And what it felt like was that they hijacked me. What they felt like is that they hadn't earned the right to get in front of my network. Now, had they back channeled me and said, hey, I wrote this article, I think your folks would be interested, would you mind sharing it? I would have happily done it. But tagging me to get in front of my job search networking followers felt gross to me. Like I didn't like it. And I wrote this person a note and said, please take my name off it and don't tag me on stuff that I wasn't a part of. Did I overreact, or do you think that that's a worst practice?
Well, so first I'm going to say that stuff sadly works because LinkedIn does not allow you to remove yourself as a tag, unlike Facebook.
You can remove the link to your profile, I found, but no, I could not remove my name.
Right. So that is not helpful to me. That being said, again, it works. I see people do it all the time. I completely agree that it is the grossest thing ever. It is like walking into a networking event and telling everybody before I even see you, hey, Catherine Morgan said that you should talk to me because I'm really freaking awesome. Come look at me. Aren't I great? That's what it feels like to me. And I can tell you that while back channel would have worked, I think also what might have worked is, I'd love to know what Catherine Morgan thinks about this because she is an expert in the job search, right? So I think there's two ways to do it and one way not to. The blind tag is gross. Totally agree.
And it pushed something that I was trying to get out there down. Like, she doesn't know my content strategy. Maybe I had something that I was really hoping would get a lift. Like, it was bad timing on top of it.
Yeah. And so I would tell you, folks, as you're listening to this and you're thinking, the best way to get in front of Catherine or Phil's audience is I should tag them in an article. Somebody actually asked this on a post that I was featured in. Actually, Carol was too, on Carol Tice's blog over on Making a Living Writing, and said, so how do I influence the influencers? Well, I can tell you, blindly tagging me in your post is the opposite way to influence me. That's a great way to tick me off. So don't do that. I'm totally with you there. I do think that's gross. Sadly, until LinkedIn starts getting the hint that every time somebody tags me in a post, I'm untagging them, and then 3 strikes and you're out. And really, actually, what I normally do, Catherine, when they do that, I don't care how much of a friend they are, I will have that conversation like you did. And then if they do it again, guess what? You're blocked. Yeah. We're not even playing. Because frankly, you're trying to hijack my network and you don't respect me enough to have that conversation. So yeah, so that's a worst practice. I hate that. That really drives me nuts.
Oh, you know what? I feel so much better talking to you because I was feeling kind of like a jerk. And then I'm like, no, it really pissed me off.
Yeah.
And it's always from somebody who's in a similar space who never shares your stuff.
Well, of course it is.
And then they poke their head up once a quarter to try and hijack your network.
Yeah. So they're an air quote friend, not a real friend. So in that case, I would block.
Big difference. If you had blind tagged me on something, I know you would have thought about it and it would have been somehow relevant to call it like you thought about it. This is just like, oh, who do I know in the job search space who has a really big following? Like, she tagged somebody else who's got a gigantic network. I wonder if she got an earful from that person. I don't know.
Yeah, well, hopefully she did. And I would say, I know that there are some LinkedIn trainers out there that will tell you that it is good to tag the person in your network that has the biggest feed, right? The biggest person. I can tell you, though, that does not work. Can I share something that does?
Please.
Yeah. So instead, I want you to think about how we could have done that even a little better. Imagine that person posted that. Instead, go and look at the comments, and often, especially on major influencers, you will see they don't take the time to actually respond to commenters. Yesterday, I saw someone who posted something that I can contribute directly to, that they have way more followers than I do. So what did I do? I went through, and not everyone, but the ones that I could add value to, I responded to their comments.
Yep.
I took the time to do that. And I watched, because many people were like, hey, can you click on my link? Hey, will you share my stuff? That was their comment strategy. Mine is to serve first. So people would ask a question, and I would be the person that answered it. And it's so funny because yesterday, on one of the comments that I made, Catherine, I got 30 new connection requests. And I got people liking my comment, engaging on this person's profile,
right,
in conversation beyond my network. These are people that I'm not connected to that would have had no reason to look at me.
right.
But I was helpful first. And so then they inbound to me.
Let me quote you to you.
Yeah.
Give first. That's been your business mantra since I've known you for 8 years. Like, you, right? You're always like, give first. Build relationship, then ask. Like, you.
It's not that hard. I don't know. I don't understand why people don't understand it. Like, that's the thing. If you really just slow down and you think about this, if you don't add any value to anybody's life,
right,
why would they ever want to accept your advance? I get of ultimately, right? If we say on LinkedIn, well, nobody's altruistic. They're all out for business. Well, duh. That's why we're there. Of course. But more than that, we're trying to solve our own problems. We're trying to get help. Sometimes that help, these people that are posting, look at me, you know what they need help with? Distribution of their content. If I was a distribution of content expert, I would look at all these influencers that are getting tons of engagement, that are all look at me, and I would say, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk is never going to look at you. How about instead we start small and we try to find your first 100 fans? And for $500 a month, here's a service that could help you. Would that be of any interest to you? Right now, I don't have any interest in running that platform. So if you're listening, folks, and you're like, oh, that's a business idea, it's yours.
Take it.
Take it. But the thing is, it's not that hard.
Minimum viable audience. Isn't that what Seth Godin's new book is about?
Yeah. This is marketing. Yeah. 100 people. Who's your 100 people? Who's your 1,000 people? What's 7 people? I mean, if you invest $10,000 in a new product or service and you get 10 people to pay you $1,000, that product and service now is an annuity. Every sale after that is bonus. But you got to serve first. You got to help first. You got to add value first. This is not, it's not the other way. It's why we open doors for people. It's not because it's, it feels good, though it certainly does. It's because you want to help first. Help first. Be first. Don't be the first butthole on the planet. Be the first good person.
All right. We might have gotten off topic there. Let's wrap up. You've shared some wonderful advice, helpful. I hope we've convinced a couple people who aren't using LinkedIn effectively for their business or are sort of hesitating to put stuff out there. I think we can encapsulate this as be helpful, be interesting.
Yeah, and be interested.
And be interested in others.
Yeah.
Okay. Any final words of wisdom? How can people follow you, learn more about LinkedIn from you?
Well, probably the best way is to follow me on LinkedIn. Send me a connection request. If you can spell Gerbyshak, you can find me. It's Gerbyshak. Really simple. You cannot throw a stick at Gerbyshak and not hit me. Okay. So find me on LinkedIn. feel free to connect. I have not changed my profile to allow follow first. It's still connect, because I would love to talk to you. I'd love to connect with you. If you want to talk business, if you have questions about LinkedIn, if you're like, dude, you are so wrong, that's okay. I don't mind. Truly, I love civilized conversation. I really do. I love people to show me I'm wrong so I can be better tomorrow. I really want to do that. So that's the first place. And then, you know, if you're kind of shy, then look for me on Twitter and have a conversation there, right? It's Phil Gerb, Philgerb, real simple. You can find me and let's have a conversation wherever you want, wherever you are. I'd be happy to, you know, have a conversation with you. And then, you know, last but not least, I would say just be out there and produce good stuff, and I'll pay attention to it. If it's in the right spot, if you're connected to some of the people I'm connected to and you produce really quality stuff, I'm going to see you. Yep. So I'll look for you. Let me know, but don't tag me in your post.
So Gerbyshak, thank you so much for talking to me. It was a joy, and happy LinkedIn, happy business hunting.
Absolutely.
Bye.